Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to day 148 of the Hunt a Day. Today we are fighting Barroth, and back in the Wildspire Waste, like I talked about yesterday, accidentally planned this to be a little mini Wildspire showcase. And I have to keep things pretty short today because there is going to be a planned power outage in my neighborhood right at the time that I usually work on videos and getting them uploaded, so I have to speed up my process a little bit and hopefully get it uploaded on time. If I'm not able to, the video will go up later, and if that's happening, that's what happened. If it's not happening, woohoo, I was able to speed run the creative process. Barroth is one of my favorite monsters on the 3rd generation roster, and I am always happy whenever I see it show up in a game. I was very disappointed when I went from 3 Ultimate to 4 Ultimate in college, and Barroth was not a part of that experience. And then, I remember I was at a board game convention. I was at Gen Con in, 2016, 2017, just before Monster Hunter World came out. And I remember waking up in the hotel room, rolling over, looking at my phone, and seeing the high-res new render of Barroth after it had just been revealed. From Monster Hunter World, and I threw my arms up in the air while still laying in the hotel bed, and my friends were looking over at me what are you doing? And I was like, they announced my muddy boy. Because Barroth is a wonderful mud puppy with a very simple but a very fun design. I love the move where he will stand in place for a little bit and shake mud off at you like a dog that has just gotten out of a muddy pond and decides that it needs to shake off the water, but it also needs to be right next to you when it does it. I don't know if any of y'all have dogs, but it is a compulsion that they refuse to shake off water and mud that is on them unless they are right next to a person. They will chase you down, no matter how far or how fast you run, in order to shake off the muddy water on you, rather than just do it over there. And Barroth gives me that exact energy. In terms of his design, I love how simple it is, but with a very nice, kind of exaggerated silhouette. His head is definitely the most prominent feature. It is what draws the eye the most. The big, massive, chonky ridge that acts like a bludgeon. And then the more, general, kind of sleek frame that goes, down the rest of his body. Not a whole lot to write home about there. Something I really appreciate, because Barroth is one of the minis from the Monster Hunter World board game. So I've been preparing to paint it, because it's next on my docket after I finish Puke Puke, I never realized how wide and beefy his hands are, and they're really cool. They remind me of there was a monster we fought in Frontier that had the big, it was kind of like a otter, a poison ottery type of monster, and it had the big chunky hands. And looking at Barroth's design, it actually kind of reminds me of that guy a little bit. Not to the same exaggerated Frontier extent, but in a similar way. I really like Barroth's color palette as well, with the bright orange flesh tones contrasted with the dark brown of the mud and the natural kind of stone look of the carapace and ridges that it has on it. I don't like Barroth's color palette in Monster Hunter World, though. It is way too washed out. The orange gets completely lost in the design and does not come through nearly as much as I wish it did. I am a big fan of bright, saturated creatures. I like my monsters to pop visually. And I feel like Barroth in World specifically just kind of fades into the backdrop a little bit, and it's not a great design. And I hope if and when they bring Barroth back, they let the color saturation pop a little bit more. But by far, the best, most, the thing that I love the most about Barroth, when Barroth is rearing up to start charging at you, it makes a noise that can only be described as a train horn. It makes the, purr, as it, starts to charge at you. And whoever on the Capcom, sound design team decided to give Barroth a train horn, I want to shake your hand. I want to buy you lunch. I want to be your friend, because that was the perfect design choice, and it gives Barroth so much personality and so much more staying power, at least in my mind. And I'm not even I'm not even particularly huge on trains myself, but I think they are neat, and I do like how it's just a really good touch. And it also is a very nice signpost, and it's a good talking about early monsters and how they're meant to kind of like teach you mechanics before the later game monsters test you. Barroth is a very good monster to teach, like, not only secondary statuses like I talked about when I talked about Lagombi, but also to teach, like, watching for those big tells that a big, powerful attack is coming. And Barroth not only gives you a visual cue with it, like, stopping, lowering its head, standing in place for a second before the charge starts, but also the audio cue that you can pay attention to in clock. And that is great fight design. That is an excellent choice that they made. Barroth is great. I want to see it again. I really want to see it in Wilds. I hope it's going to be in Wilds. And I think, like, there's only so many monsters they can cram into that desert area. And so far, I really only know of 4. The ones from the beta. Raidao, Doshiguma, Chatacabra, and Balahara. Those are the only 4 I know for sure that are going to be in... I should specify first beta, because I did not play the second beta. But I know there were additional monsters in there. As a reminder to everyone, I'll do this now before I do my ranking. I am spoiler-free on Monster Hunter Wilds up until the end of the first beta. So, like, the last trailer I saw was the trailer that showed the release date, that announced that it was going to be released on February 28th, as well as the showed off the flagship for the first time. The trailer back in September is the last one I saw. So I don't know if the Barroth was one of the monsters that got added in the second beta. It would be cool. But I think Barroth could really fit in that area as a good early game monster to kind of round out the like early to mid game roster. Because right now Chatacabra is a punching bag. Chatacabra's way too easy. Balahara kind of fits like a slightly higher niche than Barroth, and then Doshiguma a little higher than that, and then Raidao at the tippy top. So I think Barroth would fit kind of comfortably in between Chatacabra and Balahara. So I am going to give Barroth like a 7 or 8 out of 10 to show up in Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't want to know if I'm right. This is all pure speculation based on my own thoughts on the monster and the very limited amount of Wilds that I've seen so far. So please don't say anything if I am correct. And then, of course, I got to give Barroth a 10 out of 10 for showing up in Monster Hunter in the future. I think it's a popular monster. I absolutely love it. And the fact that he has shown up consistently in games since its release, since his creation, shows me that Capcom likes him too, and so he's a lot more likely to be in future games. But that is where I am going to be ending the ramble for today. I gotta get to editing and hope I can get this up before my power goes out. So thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. And until next time, I'll see you next time.